Chapter 7. Agree with evil quickly. Jesus said, "Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him." The adversary referred to as any form of evil or negation that may be troublesome. Why are we not told to run far and fast to escape him? Why must we agree? Because by agreeing with evil we obviate the necessity of having to handle it. How do we agree with an adversary? By seeing it as it is and by expressing it to the white light of truth. Instead of fearing, resisting, and fighting evil as we have been doing, we now agree with it and render it powerless. Our first step in the process is to examine evil and to see it for what it is. Evil is a false belief parading as a truth. It is a negation of the good. It is a false mental picture generated and sustained by wrong or inverted thinking. It has no power to embody or to express itself. It is temporary because it disappears in the presence of good. It is unreal because it is impermanent. Having no self-originating cause, it is merely an effect. It is not absolute because it exists only in the human or carnal mind and lives by borrowed life. We must give the devil his due. Evil does serve one useful purpose, however. It serves by creating in us a desire for the good. On the one hand, evil is necessary for good, for where the imperfection is not felt, there would be no striving for perfection. All defeat in sin consists merely in privation, in the non-realization of possible qualities. It would not be well were evil non-existent, for it makes for the necessity of good. If evil were removed, the desire for good would also cease. In his whole life, however, the soul will realize all good and therefore is only per accidias imperfect. We shall agree with evil, then, by seeing it as a form of good. We shall transmute it by recognizing it as an inevitable step toward an expanding consciousness and an ever greater realization of God. If evil is something out of which good is made, where is the evil? All life and energy are of divine origin. That which we name evil is merely unreconstructed energy. To gain this understanding and maintain it will save us from much unnecessary suffering and many mistakes. Instead of reacting unpleasantly to the negative things that happen to us, we shall see them as the best things that could have happened, because they provide us with the opportunity to learn the wisdom that we need. Resist not evil. The way to overcome evil is not by fighting or resisting, but by a radical change in consciousness. If man's viewpoint or belief is the only evil there is, the belief in evil is the only thing that can be changed. God hath made man perfect, but man hath sought out many inventions. He has resisted evil, and the more he has resisted, the stronger it has grown. He has fought evil, and by the reflex action of his own belief, it is fought back with equal force. Why? Because what man resists becomes real, and what is real to his consciousness becomes steadfast and indestructible. Evil is not real in the sense that good is real, but man invests in it with the reality by giving it power in his thought. As soon as one evil is disposed of, another appears, and the more man resists evil, the stronger and more tenacious it becomes. Jesus said, "Resist not evil." Stop fearing the thing that is troubling you. Stop giving it power in your thought. Stop making something out of nothing, and stop accepting evil as a fact. What you fear and resist will embody itself in your experience according to your proportion or intensity of your resistance. Resist not evil means to stop reacting to it in your thought. It means to keep your conditions, problems, symptoms, and physical organs out of your personal mind. If all disease, disorder, and disintegration are in the carnal mind, what you keep out of that mind cannot affect you adversely. St. Paul said, "Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good." To render evil impotent by recognizing nothing but good is the only way out. The evil that comes through the carnal mind can be obliterated only by changing the mind, by reversing the beliefs which keep it in motion. To get at the root cause of all your negative ills and troubles and to eliminate them, you must have a complete change of consciousness. You must let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. Do not sabotage your treatments. Many people are like a certain woman who went to church to pray over a problem. She spent 30 minutes telling God about it, then she concluded the prayer with the statement that she was now leaving it entirely in his hands. If she had stopped there, everything might have worked out to her satisfaction, and the prayer might have been answered, but she didn't. On the way out of the church, she met a willing listener and related the whole terrible situation to her. In other words, she sabotaged her prayer by taking it out of God's hands and transferring it to her friends. Jesus said, "Go and tell no man." The space between the prayer and the answer is one of the most important aspects of the prayer, for it is during this time that the action of the prayer is retarded or accelerated. If the treatment is to succeed, the law must be permitted to act in new ways. It must be lived. The promise, "Before they call, I will answer," must be taken literally. All our thoughts, words, and actions must conform to the new ideal which we have set before God. We must not only change our thought out of the old condition and into the new while we are praying, but we must keep it changed 24 hours of the 24. It is a law of mind that whatever we think upon grows, and that whatever we refuse to think about diminishes. Any recital or rehashing of the negative aspects of the problem after the treatment has been given is to unthink, unpray, or to sabotage the treatment. No matter how carefully we may have prepared and given the treatment, the whole structure can be torn away in 5 minutes given to self-pity, worry, or complaint. The more we think and talk about our trials, problems, shortages, grievances, suffering, injustice, and misfortune, the more we will continue to experience unhappiness. Conversely, the more we think upon and praise the blessing we have, the more blessings will come to us. The true way to keep our treatment intact until it has accomplished its purpose is to guide, guard, and discipline our words. They that dwell in the secret place of the Most High are positive, shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Our affirmations and treatments will be effective only if we realize the truth back of them and continue in it. They will work for us only if we put feeling and meaning into them, and dwell steadfastly upon the desire in completion. To pray without ceasing is to keep the thought changed into the new concept we are seeking to bring forth. Emerson said, "Assume a virtue, and you shall have the realization." Isaiah said, "He will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee." And Jesus said, "Remain within my love." In other words, act as though I am, and I will be. Let your treatment be a glorious realization of the presence of good rather than a striving against evil. Treat your treatment. When a treatment backfires or returns to our thought as imperfect or incomplete, or we find our thought going back to it, to the person for whom it was given, or to the outward aspect of the condition we are trying to change, we may be sure that one of the two things has happened. We may not yet realize our place in the work of healing, or something in the subjective consciousness may be denying our objective statement. It is wise at such times to find the reason for the adulteration and to treat them specifically. There should be no doubt in the mind of the healer as to his place in the treatment. He merely happens to be the one through whom the movement of God's mind is channeled in this particular case. He has no personal responsibility beyond using his knowledge of the oneness of God and man and exercising his conviction that thought is creative. "I can of my own self do nothing. It is the Father within that doeth the work," said Jesus, and so must say anyone who gives a treatment. Is there some hostility in the subconscious mind? Then treat the hostility per se, knowing that it has no law to support it. Is there doubt? Treat it, knowing that in God it has no basis for existence. Is it the bugaboo of the difficult or the incurable? Treat the false sense of material sight. Is it the appearance of a diseased form? Recognize the form for what it is, the outpicturing of a distorted thought, the truth of which is unmarred perfection, perfection which is waiting to be called forth by and through your word. No matter what the appearance or its effect on us, we must change our thought until we see nothing but the quickening, beneficent, harmonious action of the Spirit within the one for whom the treatment is given. We must treat our treatment until our unbelief has been healed, or until we have the full mental acceptance of the word we have released. This does not mean that we have to repeat the treatment. We must treat the one that has already been given. We do this by declaring that the statement made in treatment is a law unto the person from whom it was given, and that it is going to be operative for him. Reverse every contrary, negative, and ungodlike thought. Declare that the treatment is a harmony with divine law, with God, and with all good, and that it is competent to bring about the perfect healing of every circumstance and condition in the patient's life. Know that since it is now part of God, it simply cannot fail.